Hi, everybody. So, my name is Alex, and I'm currently between 21 weeks and 1 day or 21 weeks and 4 days. Don't know because I just had a doctor's appointment and they changed my gestational date or whatever. So, I'm in my second trimester towards the end, and I just wanted to make a video about things that people don't tell you about pregnancy or what happens when you get pregnant. Like, I watched all these videos on YouTube and everybody says the same things, like your hormones change, or I don't know, they just tell you like the same stuff. Nobody says anything different. And I'm like, okay, so let me talk about my experience. Let me talk about my experience and what I feel that nobody ever told me I was going to go through, like the changes with my body and everything. So, for starters, when I first found out I was pregnant, or before I found out, my very first sign was my breasts were hurting, like very bad. Like, I would cry because they were hurting so bad. And my nipples were very like itchy and sore. But I'm just thinking, oh, well, my nipples hurt around the time that I start my period. No, ma'am, I did not. I was like 2 weeks late, and that's when I found out. And I know some people talk about your areolas getting bigger and getting darker, and that's true, they do. It's for me, it took a while for them to get bigger and darker. Like, more of my second trimester had started doing that, but they itch very badly. Like, so I know to keep them moisturized. Like, I have to keep them moisturized. The second thing is cramping. So nobody told me that I was gonna be cramping like I'm on my period, especially my whole first trimester. I said semester. My whole first trimester, I was cramping like I was on my period every day. And now in my second trimester, I don't cramp every day, but if I don't drink enough water, or if the baby moves like a lot or puts a lot of pressure on my hip or something, then I'll cramp like I'm on my cycle. So that's not fun. Another thing was, for me, I didn't get, well, morning sickness is nausea and throwing up, but I didn't throw up at all. I just was nauseous, and I still do get nauseous. But for my nausea, they told me to take Unisom. So I want to show exactly what you. Can you give me a Unisom out the back? What? It's in the side.
Don't put the camera on me.
I'm not. It's in the side, on the left side, because it's two different types of Unisom, and one is not safe for pregnancy. So it's a little blue pill, and my doctor told me to take this one. I don't know if y'all can see. Let me see if it focuses. It's not focusing. But this one is doxylamine succinate tablets, 25 milligrams. So she was telling me to take it for nausea as needed, or take it like two or three times a day. But it makes you sleepy, so I don't want to sleep all day because I already have a hard time with that. And this helps me sleep really good through the night. So I just take one as needed. But that helps for my nausea and my headaches, because usually that's another thing, bad headaches. So I get really bad headaches, and I realize they're usually a sign of me being thirsty, hungry, or tired. If you don't stop moving, that a sign of being thirsty, hungry, or tired. So it's like I found that out because it's like I would either drink enough water and I would stop having headaches, or I'll have to eat something and then lay down, and then when I wake up, my headache is gone. Or as soon as I lay down, my headaches, they kind of wear off. But headaches, for me, they were like really bad. It wasn't a migraine per se. It was just like a lot of pressure in my head, and just like, I don't know. I just needed some rest or something. So I could say the number one advice for being pregnant is listen to your body. Like, they say that when you're in labor and about to deliver, listen to your body. Throughout your pregnancy, listen to your body, because sometimes you're like, well, I'm cramping like I need some water or like I'm dehydrated, you might be. So it's good to always have water. Like I have my Hydramate bottle that I keep this, I think it's 74 ounces or something like that. And so I know one of those plus a couple more bottles of water is plenty for the day. Or at least two of those are plenty for the whole day. Another thing is changes in breathing. So for me, I have a deviated septum, which means that this part of my nose is curved on the inside, like further back. So in the back, it's like my what's this? My nostril is like slim like this on one side and the other side is open like this. So it's hard to breathe. And then I also have allergies and asthma. So at night I get sinusitis where it swells up in the back and makes it harder to breathe at night. And they gave me two different nasal sprays. One was like fluconase and the other one starts with an A. And it helps sometimes, but for some reason, like at nighttime, it's harder for me to breathe. So I have to like sleep elevated a little bit or propped up a little bit, and that'll help me sleep sometimes. But a lot of times if the air is too cold or it's not enough humidity in the air, then I have a lot of trouble with breathing in my sleep. And then in the daytime, it's like I breathe perfectly. And then also, of course, I'm not big on exercising, but they do tell you at least exercise 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week when you're pregnant, or exercise for 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week. I exercise like every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, maybe like once or twice a week because I'm just not enthusiastic about it. So going up a flight of stairs, my breathing is very heavy. We're going to work on that. Speaking of all this negative stuff, a plus side about being pregnant, of course, is you get special treatment. So people around you or anywhere that you go, like when they know you're pregnant, they kind of treat you like, I don't know, like you're like precious cargo because you're carrying precious cargo, as they should treat you like precious cargo. And I just found out that when you go to other doctors, like when you go to your dentist appointment, you need a clearance from your OB to be able to get x-rays and get treated. So I found that out today when I was getting ready for my dental appointment. The other thing that changes that people don't talk about is your change in hormones, or that I don't hear often, is a change in hormones, like your lack or increase of sex drive, or like your emotions changing. So we always see movies about people who are pregnant and they're crying all the time for little things, or they cry when they're happy, they cry when they're sad. Well, for me, in my first trimester, I think I was very bitchy. Let's say that. That's the best way to put it. Any little thing would make me cry, like, and I'm very sensitive. Like, I guess my feelings got hurt much easier, and I was very annoyed in my first trimester. But I was very uncomfortable my first trimester. Like I was nauseous all the time. My headaches were very bad, and I didn't know how to manage them because I didn't go to the doctor until I was about, when I go to the doctor, like 8 weeks or 6. Was it 8 weeks? Huh? I think it was 8 weeks when I went to the doctor.
Something like that.
So yeah. So I was already like a month when I first went to the doctor, because I didn't find, yeah, it had to be 8 weeks because I didn't find out until I was like 6 weeks. For sure I didn't find out, because at first we had to take 2 pregnancy tests, then we took another one. That's another thing. Do not get those pregnancy tests with the lines. Get the ones that say yes or no, because the line was so faint. I was like, can you see the line? And I think he was like, yes, you can see a little line. I'm like, I can't even see the line. We need a pregnancy test that's going to say yes or no. So we ended up getting 2 that had the lines, and then we got the clear blue that just simply says pregnant or not pregnant. And it took probably like 30 seconds for it to pop up and say pregnant. And that was when I was 6 weeks. I was like, oh my gosh. So it was exciting. It was cool journey, unexpected, but it's pretty cool. I wouldn't change it for the world. So For me, another change during my pregnancy is my skin. So I'm, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
so, so I'm having a boy, and
Two of them.
no, no, I'm having a baby boy, and I hear like your acne is worse when you're having a boy, but I'm not sure how true that is because it's my first child. But for me, I get acne like my problem areas when I was younger was like the middle of my forehead. Now for some reason it's like I'll get acne right here under my chin. Like it'll be just these different little bumps popping up out of nowhere, or I'll get them by my eyebrow behind my glasses, and then they'll go away if I use like that. It's a Clinique clarifying lotion. Like you put it on a cotton ball some after you clean your face and you rub it on, and it makes your face feel like you breathe. And I put either aloe vera or that Mario spray. It's like a purple lavender aloe vera spray, or I use aloe vera gel, or sometimes I use Pond's. And Clean and Clear also works for me. The Either the nighttime Clean and Clear or that cream, the regular cream Clean and Clear. It's white. I'll use that and that'll clear it up. Um, and for my skin, another thing, I for some reason like I got these rashes on my hand at one point, and I don't know if y'all can see. But I got like a little rash on my hand. And it's like a very dry patch right there. Like eczema that came out of nowhere. And then at one point I had like salmon, which I eat all the time. I had some sockeye salmon, but that's a different type of salmon, I guess. And I had with sun dried tomatoes, and I made like this creamy sauce. It was like a Tuscan salmon or whatever, and it had the tomatoes. So it's either the salmon or the tomatoes that gave me an allergic reaction. Mind you, I don't have allergies for anything but hay fever, which is dust and the pollen. But I broke out. Like all over my body, I had bumps. I was itching. Like it was really bad. And it got bad on my hand and made my eczema on my hand worse. So I have it on my hand and on my elbows. It keeps popping up and then goes away. So I have to stay moisturized. And that's like key during pregnancy. Stay moisturized. But when you're very happy, or when you're, I guess when your oxytocin is released and you're um, in a great mood, you glow like something serious without makeup. Like your skin is so pretty. And I love that. Like for my birthday, which was yesterday, I was glowing. Like it was so beautiful. I would give to have that every day. Anyway, so I talked about the areolas. Oh, that line on your stomach. So I believe it's called linea nigra, which is just the melanin increasing in your body, where that line, some people can see it before they have the baby. It's like a little line in the middle of your stomach that gets darker and it gets longer. So it's more visible, which it doesn't mean anything. It's just your melanin is increasing because your hormones are changing. So that's another sign of your another side effect of your hormones changing. Um, Another piece of advice for your pregnancy is not eating for two, which is very easy to do. Like your appetite, of course, will increase because you're carrying a whole human being in your body that is taking everything from you, like all your nutrition, all your nutrients. They're taking everything from you. So, of course, you're going to want to eat a lot, but you're really not supposed to eat like for two people. I believe you're only supposed to increase your food intake by 300 calories. So what will help with that is smaller snacks in between, and snacks that benefit your baby, not chips and stuff like that. Like I know I was worried about seafood because I heard that you can't eat certain seafoods, and I was thinking that was most of it, but they actually gave me a list of seafood to avoid, and the list is very small. Like you have to be careful with the tuna and what kind of salmon, but crab legs, crawfish, wild caught salmon, um, like it's a certain type of mackerel. You can eat light tuna, a certain kind of tuna. You can eat tilapia, catfish. I'm trying to think. The list was very long what you can eat, and it was shorter what you can't eat. But you're not supposed to have it like every single day of the week. No, like no seafood you're supposed to have every single day of the week because there's still mercury in it, and that increases the mercury in your body, which is not good for the baby. But I would say, for as far as snacks, eat more brain foods, which would be like nuts, avocados, um, well, fruit. Like I have this, I don't get crazy cravings, but more of my cravings are for salt. Like, and I have to be careful with that because I don't want high blood pressure and I don't want gestational diabetes. So my my craziest craving would be the pretzels, and I would mix guacamole and or avocados and cream cheese together, and I would like season it a little bit, and I would just dip my pretzel sticks in there and eat it like that. Or now I'm hooked on orange slices with salt on it. So like I'll get a sandwich bag and cut up some oranges, and then I'll put salt in the bag and I'll eat it like that. But I try not to put too much in there because I don't want any issues with my health or anything that I didn't have before to show up. Um, I know with my labs, when I went to the doctor, they said my carbon dioxide was low, which I'm thinking has something to do with my deviated septum. But when I looked it up, it's apparently normal for your carbon dioxide to drop while you're pregnant. Um, that's another thing. Don't believe everything that you Google. Yes, Google is like a best friend. It tells us everything, but everybody does not know. So go to reliable sources if you can. Find like a .org. Never take advice from the sites that are .com because anybody can post something on there. But if it's a .org, it's like verified information. It's like scholarly resources or something like that. Um, let's see. And I guess the last thing for me is that I'm pickier with certain foods, and um now I eat some things that I didn't eat before. Like I used to eat pork when I was younger, and I stopped eating pork for years. And since I was pregnant, I started craving bacon. So I did eat some bacon because at first bacon would like make me gag when I wasn't pregnant. It was just the concept of the fat and maybe like the ribs having worms in it or something like that. So I knew pork kills us faster, especially with the high blood pressure and the salt and stuff. So I cut out my pork and I didn't eat pork for years. Maybe like a rib or two here or whatever. But now it's like, okay, sometimes I'll exchange my turkey bacon for some real bacon. And I think after I have the baby, I'll go back to not eating pork because I don't eat it all the time, but I do crave it. A couple things that I did hear about, but I don't hear people talking about. Some things that I do hear from other people who were pregnant is their shoe size changing. So like one foot gets bigger than the other, or um if you're engaged or married and you have a ring, your hand, like your fingers might get a little fatter or whatever, and they might grow and they might not go back down. So the ring may not fit anymore. So that's another thing, like your feet getting bigger or your hands getting bigger, not hands, but your fingers getting a little more weight on them. I'm trying to think of something else that I hear. I think that's it for now. But that's my experience. So even if a lot of people don't see this video, I just wanted to be able to share my experience of what I don't hear people talk about in their videos. And I also want to go back when my son is older and watch this video, or before I have my next child, watch this video and remind myself of what I experienced and what helped me and what didn't work, or what I went through. Another thing is, do not be afraid to talk to your OB. If you don't like your OB or you're not comfortable with your OB, change them. Like do your research, look at their reviews. If they're sorry, then go find another one. You are not obligated to stay with that OB. You can change, because my first OB, apparently she had bad reviews, And she was very judgmental, and she was more like, if you're not married, I don't see why you would have a baby. So I switched to an OB who looked like me and that I was comfortable with, because I felt like they would be more open. And as a woman of color, we have a higher what's it called, a higher rate of death at giving birth, or infant mortality rate. Ours is much higher, and sometimes we don't get the care that we need, and other doctors are not as transparent with us about our health care. So I chose to go with someone who looks like me, and he is transparent with me regardless if it's going to hurt my feelings or not. She still tells me what I need to know. So yeah, don't stick with the doctor that you're not comfortable with. You are definitely, with insurance or without insurance, you're definitely able to go switch doctors at any point, and that's with dentist or a physician or whatever. You can switch at any point. You do not have to stay with them just because you've been seeing them or that was your first pick. Do your research before you stick with the doctor. But I think that's it. So I will be making more videos, especially in my third trimester, because I know things will change. Um, but yeah, that's it. So thank you to those who watched. Please like this video, and I'll be back with another one when I get in my third trimester further along, to talk about what's changed for my second and third, and maybe some more helpful tips of what helped me get through, like anything that was difficult through my pregnancy. But thank you.